Last time on the D.B. Cooper mystery, a quiet man hijacked Flight 3, securing a $200,000 ransom and 4 parachutes. As night fell over Seattle, the plane refueled, ready for the hijackers' next move. At 7:40 p.m., with a new destination of Mexico City, the Boeing 727 roared back into the sky, heading south into a raging storm. This is where our story continues. Welcome to episode 2. The Jump. As Flight 305 sliced through the turbulent night over Washington state, the man known as D.B. Cooper began issuing a series of strange and dangerous commands to the cockpit. The pilots, flying blind in the storm, had no choice but to comply. First, he demanded they maintain an unusually low altitude of just 10,000 feet, a height barely clearing the treacherous mountain peaks of the Cascade Range below. Next, he ordered them to lower the landing gear and extend the wing flaps to 15 degrees. This combination of commands forced the aircraft into a slow, unstable flight configuration, bringing its speed down to a crawl just above stalling point. It was a maneuver no commercial pilot would ever attempt under normal circumstances, let alone in a violent storm. It was clear Cooper knew exactly what he was doing, and his plan was entering its final, terrifying phase. The crew, feeling the strain on the aircraft, exchanged worried glances. What was he planning to do? Then came the most bizarre and perilous order of all. He instructed the flight attendant, Tina Mucklow, who was sitting with him, to show him how to operate the aft air stair, the retractable staircase at the tail of the Boeing 727. He then ordered her to go back to the cockpit and lock the door. Alone in the rear of the cabin, in complete darkness, Cooper prepared to open the door into the heart of the storm. The pilots in the cockpit felt the plane shake violently as the rear stairs were lowered into the slipstream. A hurricane of wind, rain, and freezing air blasted through the cabin, causing a sudden and dramatic change in air pressure. It was 8:13 p.m. The red warning light on the instrument panel flashed, indicating the aft door was open. Moments later, the tail of the plane suddenly lurched upwards, a distinct bump that the pilots felt through their controls. He was gone. Plunging from the back of the jet, D.B. Cooper fell into the abyss. 10,000 feet of blackness, a curtain of rain and wind tearing at him, with nothing but the vast, rugged wilderness of the Pacific Northwest waiting below. Imagine the scene. A lone figure tumbling through the storm clouds, the roar of the jet engines fading above, replaced by the howling wind. Did he feel terror or triumph? We will never know. Back on the plane, after waiting a few moments, the flight attendant cautiously made her way back to the main cabin. The wind howled through the open rear door, creating an eerie, whistling void. The passenger section was empty. His seat was empty. The mysterious hijacker had simply vanished into the night. The crippled Boeing 727, with its rear staircase still dangling, limped towards its new destination, Reno, Nevada. Just after 10 p.m., the plane touched down. It was immediately surrounded by a sea of flashing lights. FBI agents and local police swarmed the aircraft, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, ready to confront a dangerous hijacker. But when they stormed the cabin, they found nothing but an empty plane and a bewildered crew. The investigation began immediately. Forensic teams combed every inch of the cabin, searching for any clue the phantom hijacker might have left behind. They collected 8 cigarette butts from the ashtray, believed to be smoked by Cooper. They also found his black clip-on tie on his seat, a seemingly insignificant item that would become a crucial piece of evidence. Decades later, and in the back, they found the 2 parachutes he had left behind, confirming he had jumped with only the ransom money and 2 of the chutes. The evidence was collected, but the main questions remained unanswered. Where did he jump? And more importantly, where did he land? As dawn broke on November 25th, Thanksgiving Day, the FBI launched one of the most extensive and expensive manhunts in American history. Based on the plane's flight path and the moment of the jump, they calculated a probable landing zone in the dense, unforgiving wilderness of southwestern Washington. The search area was enormous, covering hundreds of square miles of some of the most rugged terrain in the country. Helicopters buzzed overhead, their blades chopping the cold morning air as searchers scanned the ground below. On T-ground, hundreds of soldiers from Fort Lewis, FBI agents, and local law enforcement fanned out, forming human chains to comb through the dense forests. They were aided by search dogs, hoping to pick up a scent, but the environment was their greatest enemy. They faced a landscape of steep, wooded mountains, deep ravines, and fast-flowing rivers. To make matters worse, winter was setting in fast. Snow and freezing rain hampered the search efforts, making the terrain even more treacherous and erasing any potential tracks or evidence. For weeks, they searched day after day. The teams pushed through the undergrowth, their hopes slowly fading with the daylight. They searched for a body, a parachute caught in the trees, or even a single $20 bill. Yet, they found nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was as if D.B. Cooper had been swallowed by the sky itself. After 18 grueling days, with costs spiraling and no results to show for their massive effort, the FBI officially suspended the active search. The case of D.B. Cooper, the man who hijacked a plane and jumped into thin air, officially went cold. Years turned into a decade. The legend of D.B. Cooper grew, but the case remained a frustrating enigma. Then, in February 1980, 9 years after the jump, there was a stunning breakthrough. A family was having a picnic along the sandy banks of the Columbia River, miles downstream from the initial search area. Their 8-year-old son, Brian Ingram, was digging in the sand to build a campfire when his hand struck something unusual buried just beneath the surface. He pulled it out and stared in disbelief. It was a decaying, rubber-banded bundle of cash. The stacks of $20 bills were rotted and partially disintegrated, but the serial numbers were still legible. The family immediately contacted the authorities, and the FBI was brought back into the case. Agents meticulously examined the fragile bills. They ran the serial numbers through their database. The result was electrifying. It was a perfect match. This was D.B. Cooper's ransom money. In total, Brian Ingram had found $5,800. The discovery was a bombshell, reigniting public fascination with the case. It was the first, and to this day, the only piece of physical evidence from the hijacking ever found outside the airplane. But this incredible discovery created more questions than it answered. Why was only a small fraction of the money found? What happened to the other $194,000? And most importantly, what happened to Cooper himself? Did the location of the money mean he drowned in the river, his body and the rest of the cash washed away forever? Or did he bury a small portion there, a decoy, before making his escape? Is it possible that against all odds, he survived the jump and is still out there, living a quiet life under a new identity? The mystery only deepened. Next time, we dive into the most compelling part of the investigation. The suspects. The FBI looked into over 800 individuals in the years following the hijacking. We'll explore the most promising leads, the bizarre confessions, and the characters who might have been the real D.B. Cooper. And we'll reveal how new DNA analysis in 2024, performed on the tie he left behind, has turned the case on its head, pointing to a new, incredible possibility. Don't miss it. Subscribe now so you're the first to know when the next episode drops. Thanks for watching.